Oh, baby.
Welcome
to
and take your picture.
This
because
show.
we're TRIFLIX and we take pictures and videos.
And we're going to try to say, we're going to finish
gonna-
each other's sentences by talking at the same time.
Same time.
Welcome to TRIFLIX.
Man,
Columbus, Indiana's best podcast. Roll the intro.
Roll it, yeah. Early. So, you guys are aware of The Verge, right? Verge.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Tech news.
website. Yeah, they got some stuff.
So I listen to their podcast all the time. And obviously The Verge is just part of a larger conglomerate of like companies. And they have other podcasts. And so every time I listen to Vergecast, they always say we're the flagship podcast of The Verge. And that's what it made me think of, because it like created this whole thing throughout the company that people were cracking up about, because they would always be like, we're the flagship. We're not the other ships. We're the flagship.
Oh,
and that's why you made me think of it.
Are there other podcasts at Verge?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. They have Decoder and some other stuff. Decoder's the only other thing I listen to. So
Yeah. No, it's outside of my wheelhouse. What do they talk about normally?
on the Vergecast,
Yeah.
it's all tech news.
Oh.
So
all tech.
there used to be 2 episodes. So there was like an interview episode and then a tech news episode on Friday morning. And so I listen to the tech news one on Friday every week.
Keep talking about that.
And the other one that they just moved over and they made the new one called Decoder.
Decoder?
They interview somebody every week. So like I listened to the one this week. It was super interesting. It was the CTO of John Deere.
What's a CTO?
Chief Technology Officer.
Oh, he must be smart.
He sounded smart. I'll tell you that much.
At John Deere?
John Deere.
Did
John
he talk
Deere?
about right to repair at all?
They did, because that was the whole thing that they were like poking about. He was like, so give me some lowdown on right to repair. And I'm not going to lie, this dude was sly.
Yeah.
Because he talked about the whole thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, people should not be able to repair their tractors.
Really?
Why not?
So are we really getting into this? So like
Right to repair.
we've talked about this a couple times, right?
Okay, let's break down in 10 seconds. David, what is right to repair?
Yeah.
You own something. You buy it from somebody who made it. You want to be able to fix it and get into it on your own if something goes bad. It's like, like your car. Cars are like a really good example of this. Like you can repair it yourself. You can take it to a dealership if you have it under the warranty still.
A non-certified dealership as well?
Well, if it's under the warranty, you can take it to like the certified dealership and you can get like special treatment.
Mm-hmm.
But you can take it to anyone if you want to. But like after the warranty or whatever, if you don't have one.
Yeah. So
But you can. That's the whole point. You can take it anywhere if you want to, and everybody has the knowledge and know-how to source the parts, figure out how to put them in, and then fix it and give it to you.
Yeah. So you bought a thing, it's yours, and you get to do whatever you want with it.
Mm-hmm.
And this John Deere CTO thinks that maybe it would be best if you bought it, but then you don't fix it. You have to go through them.
Technically.
Okay.
So here's the thing.
Break it
So Vice did a video on this. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but Vice did a whole video. And I think their documentary style, like knowledge videos are really good. So I watched the whole thing. And it was just because I had like an hour in between shoots one day. And I sat in my car, ate Subway, and watched this Vice video. But the interesting thing is now I've heard from the people on the outside, the people who own the John Deere tractors that are wanting to do things. And then I've also heard now from the CTO. So I've got some knowledge into this play now that I'm listening. So I'm assuming that when you guys are talking about this, you're assuming that 90% of the product they can't repair on their own. Correct?
Like vital things that like prevent them from like if it goes down and they can't repair it there, then they just can't use the thing.
So the biggest, like, here's the split is like the biggest part of it is anything mechanical, right? They can fix.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Nothing stops you from turning a bolt, right? So he's like, you could take the engine out, rebuild it, whatever it is you need to do. the whole thing comes down. So he's like 90% of the product is repairable on your own, and they can source the parts, of course, from John Deere, which usually you would do. I don't know if they're aftermarket dealers or not, but so you can source the parts from them. You can fix all those things. Where the hard stop is the software. And I can see where someone says, my computer, I want to put what I want on there, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, not every computer is a 40,000 pound, thing with 8 wheels that also, is going 20 miles an hour down the road. So his argument was just the fact that like most of the machinery can be fixed. But when it comes to the software, people are wanting to be able to dive deeper and change things, which can have adverse effects possibly. If they lose a system, they might hit a car on the road, or if they were to put third-party software on the CPU or whatever the actual computer within the tractor. Like if they were to put some third-party software on because it's not locked down, it's just open for people. What happens when something happens and it hurts somebody? Yeah. So like that's his whole thing is like we're just wanting to control that process because there's a lot of regulatory things they have to think about. I think that there's complete argument within the Apple realm, but it's like when you come to this, like I can kind of see both sides of the coin.
It sounds like a PR move to me. It sounds like, hey, we don't want our tractors killing people, and if you did your own thing, that would increase the risk of owning our vehicles, and then negative PR is never good, but also money.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's reoccurring revenue for them.
But as a company that is that large, you know what I mean? These would be things you'd have to think about. That there's a possible liability, because what happens when you get to that size? Everybody will come after you.
Yeah. And that's the part like I hate about this, because you have the business side, because you can't control that story. Like if some John Doe modifies his tractor and he puts some weird software on it and it causes this whole thing where it like kills somebody on the road somehow, the news story is going to be John Deere tractor kills person on the road. Yeah. And they can't be like, oh, it wasn't really a John Deere tractor, it was a modified one. And then it sounds like you're
right.
Nobody does that. You can't do it.
No one cares if it's got Korean software on it.
What's wrong with Korean software?
Ooh.
Well, I'm just saying that's what these guys are doing.
Korea.
So they're finding ways around to be able to mess with the software that's based on the tractors. That's helping them to be able to repair some of these things. It's about control, right? I mean, at the end of the day.
Fast and Furious 8, man. All these vehicles are going to get taken over by the cloud, and the cloud's going to drive your cars and kill people with them.
Heck yeah.
All that Tesla.
So like I said, I saw it from both angles, that it's not as cut and dry. It's not just a computer that happens to plant crops. It's got other ramifications that could happen, and as a company owner, you got to think about those things.
Yeah, I think
rather than just be like, hey, do whatever you want.
I think the difference though with specifically John Deere versus Apple, like anybody and everybody owns an iPhone, whether it's an 8-year-old, 80-year-old, doesn't matter.
Right. With
a John Deere tractor, there's less PR involved with like who's going to buy it. The only people buying a tractor are people that own farmland. There's not a clout market of people that wear Supreme and drive combines.
Sure.
So I get where they're coming from, and maybe it's just a PR move to like, oh, save face, but really we're trying to make money. But to me, it's like word of mouth for farmers is way more important than what Facebook says, like whatever the title is. So to me, I think the company that services its customers in the best way is going to have more rapport with the people that actually purchase the product.
Right.
But then John Deere, being as large as it is, has shareholders, and to the shareholders, it's like the Tesla truck. These are people that probably have never driven a tractor, but they're the ones that invested in the company.
Right.
And the reason I say Tesla is because if you've ever seen the Cybertruck, a truck is used for work. Like that is a truck's use as work, and you need the bed of a truck to be flat so that way you can store your toolboxes, or you can add lifts on it and have like your ladders across the top, or any large equipment. That's the point of having...
It's a tool.
It's a tool. Yeah. Like that's why a company would invest in a fleet of F-150s to to do contract work for like whatever. So
Right.
my point being, I think if John Deere really is putting this from the perspective of like safety and PR and all that, I think we're just at a point in the market where people care more about what other people think than the people that actually use your product. And I don't like that about a company. I want them to care about their consumers and not the PR. That's my perspective.
I don't see it as that, but
Well, I kind of like how you brought up Tesla, because there's parts of a Tesla that you can't modify. And because, you can modify it. You can do whatever you want to it. But then the computer will detect, like, hey, you removed, like, the airbags. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And I think it was Simone, I forget her last name.
Truckla.
Yeah, she made a Truckla, but she removed the back seats for it or something. And anyway, it tripped the computer, and it was like, you can't have airbags anymore. And it's like, what the heck? Like, the computer just decided you can't have those airbags. Like, even if you put them back in or something.
You'd have to get it serviced by the center or something. Yeah, you have to go get it serviced
or something, which I understand is like a safety thing. Like, why would a car's airbags ever be randomly disconnected? The car should be kind of concerned that it lost contact with its airbags.
True.
But at the same time, it's like, I want to do stuff and not be locked out by my car. So it's a weird balance, and it's sad that we have to deal with that right now.
I mean,
The problem is all three of us are, I would like to think that we're all competent adults living in society.
Everybody
right?
likes to think they are, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say we are.
I'm smarter than that guy. That's everyone's perspective.
Right. So, which is, kind of true, but no. But it's just like, I think that no matter what, there's always somebody out there that's going to screw something up. Right. And then you're going to end up having an issue. Because at the end of the day, is a farmer the same thing as a computer scientist?
Could be, but probably not.
Right.
Different
farmers.
trades.
Different trades.
They're very, very far apart.
And I understand that.
Both of them would go to Purdue for a degree, but
correct.
You're probably not going to have the same classes with each other.
Right. But my point in saying that is that if you're getting into the computer portion of this and that you're messing around with software that could, potentially, just like with the Tesla, there could be things within there that if you change, they could have ramifications that go beyond that one device or sensor or portion or piece or whatever, right? And if that's the case, that would worry me as well, because again, right, that's like me going in and messing with somebody else's code that I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And you don't understand that if you just change one simple value, that it could have rippling effects throughout, because these things are not simple anymore.
Yeah.
He's explaining they literally are connected. They're connected throughout cell towers and everything, and they're uploading data to their cloud and then back to services that these farmers can use, and they can send to growers, and they can send to their seed their seed distributors or
everything's
suppliers.
Interconnected.
Everything's connected so they can be as efficient as possible.
I don't know. I see.
Sounds so complicated.
I see it from a lot of angles here, but I'm thinking what is the thing that everybody has at this point? I mean, generally speaking, it's everybody, for the most part, has a vehicle and everybody has a phone. We've seen what happens because phones were the flagship of software and hardware, and we own it versus the company owns it type of thing.
Right.
What happens whenever the phone manufacturer stops sending updates because your phone's too old? Because they have 50 devices that they've produced in the last 2 years, and it's been 4 years since the phone was released or whatever. And they're like, well, we're focusing on these new ones. Your phone still technically works, but it's not going to have cyber security prevention where somebody can't, it's harder for somebody to get into your device or access anything from your phone remotely, whatever it is.
It's like Windows
functionality.
When Microsoft decided they don't want to support Windows XP, it's you have to move to Windows 7 or else you're just not going to get security updates anymore.
Yeah.
And now it's Windows 10 and stuff.
But at least that's optional because you can technically get around that in a way, but you run into security risks, and then a lot of other software that's dependent on it. So let's say third-party apps, so Android Auto, isn't actually produced by Tesla or Ford or anything. It's produced by Android, which actually is Google, I believe, would run them. And then you have the Apple. So if you want your car to even work with those, you have to get the updates for things to work seamlessly. So my point being, there are so many things that go into it that I think for the short term, it makes sense for, the company to hold the security of the software. But the problem is, just based on what we've seen with computers and cell phones in the long run of just 4 or 5 years, it's going to become a problem. Now, what was it? The Pixel 1 had updates for 6 years after it released, and they had the free photo uploads and all this stuff. And then after 6 years, they're like, well, we promised it, but we're going to take it back.
Yep, they did that to me.
Yeah,
did they? I'm paying $3 a month now for it instead. So.
But they said it would be free.
Yeah, they said it was free forever.
So
I don't know. They said forever, but
it may seem like, oh well, Ford only has the Lightning right now, and Tesla only has 4 cars. But the problem is, what happens when every manufacturer is releasing 5 cars and they're all the same trim technically when they're produced, but you pay subscription for features to get enabled and disabled, and then 5 years down the road. Then you're running, oh, well, we can't support it because R&D costs. We're going to have to charge you more on your subscription. We're going to have to raise your price for you to drive a vehicle. I sound like a boomer, but I only say that because we've seen the example set by other tech companies. It's just automotive's late to the market.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Can you imagine if they did that cameras? You can't use these lenses unless you pay for this subscription.
Well, we use adapters on our lenses. These are $15 lenses adapters, and they're like, oh, well, you have to use our electronic lenses, no more dummy lenses.
Yeah.
It's
but I also do think that all of these, I think that there's similarities, but I think all of these sectors need to be handled in a specific way.
Who should regulate it?
Well, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Who should regulate it, boys and girls? What do you think? Who should tell you what to do with your phone?
But I think there's a difference between a tractor and a car and a phone.
Yeah,
I think so.
Is. Yeah.
Different
use cases.
A 16-year-old could use a phone to steal money, and someone could use a car to run into somebody, and a combine could run into a lot of people. That's a lot of risk in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So
I do Cole mentioned that when you have control, that fine control, if you mess up, you could cause a big problem.
Yeah.
Because,
once it's done.
Which we've all done. And more or less, I've done more recently here with TRIFLIX.
Yeah.
Because we said we'd pick up on that.
I'm just going to say, what's
if I could add one more thing.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Everybody, round robin.
No, it was just funny because when you start talking about phones, this is just something that popped in my head that I thought that David might appreciate. I was like, because you were talking about end of support. I was like, Cyanogenmod.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Cyanogenmod.
I used to root every phone and put it on there and then keep it updated after the fact. I still had an old HTC that was running a Cyanogenmod that I literally just got rid of.
I tried to put Cyanogenmod, which is okay. We need to explain what this is.
I was like,
Tristan's confused. Give it to him.
I'm
back in the day.
Yeah,
back in the
too
day.
old for this talk.
So when Android phones and tablets, they run a modified version of the Android open source project. And so that's fine and dandy, but you can't just take that and install it onto a phone like Windows does, because Windows has 1 million configurations it can support. You have to make it specifically for a device, and you have to have it configured in just the right way to work with all the tiny components. And so this project came up, and it was called Cyanogenmod, where they would make specific ports of Android that was just stock or near stock that you could install onto your Samsung and get rid of all the Samsung stuff and have complete control over your phone.
Yeah.
And it was really awesome.
Yeah, back when it depends on the company, but rooting your device used to void your warranty depending on the company. In some companies, it still does. I don't think Google voids it anymore, but I know Samsung and iPhone still will.
Sure.
And all that means is you're taking the OS on the device and then swapping out with a new one, like the operating system.
Yep.
Into something custom.
But it's so funny because this brings us full circle, because even then, I can remember that you could go in and you could overclock
Yeah.
through Cyanogenmod.
Make your phone faster.
And that's the thing, right? So overclocking is just so all CPUs, so the central processing. I know I'm going down this rabbit hole.
Let's overclock a Tesla.
Yeah, it's running at full
Yeah,
speed.
they already all catch flame. But
I messed up my first Android device trying to do a Cyanogenmod. I bricked it.
no, I was gonna say you're not a
Yeah.
true nerd if you've never bricked an Android phone.
Yeah, I had an Amazon Kindle Fire 2nd edition, which was super important.
Second
'cause
edition.
I tried to install the Cyanogenmod for the 1st edition on accident by it because I was following the tutorial and I didn't see because all it said was Kindle Fire, whatever, and so I got to the point where you had to install the bootloader, which is like a tiny little program that is like the first thing that computer ever runs, and it tells it how to start up, basically.
Yep.
And I put the wrong version of it on it. And since it was specifically for a different device, it didn't know what to do. And so it wouldn't turn on anymore. It couldn't do anything. It was as useful as a brick.
Aww.
But
There's no worse feeling.
Lesson learned.
yeah.
No worse feeling
It
than
was
you're
a
just like,
sense of dread.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
it won't boot. I don't know what to do. I'm not a software engineer. What am I gonna do?
But I did something kind of terrible. So that happened like my 2nd day with the device.
Oh,
And
man,
so,
you skipped straight to the root, dude.
Oh, dude, I hated the built-in Kindle Fire OS.
That was hateful.
But I contacted the Amazon. I was like, hey, it won't turn on anymore.
Oh no.
And they're like, okay,
David.
we'll send you a new one. And and I sent it back, and they sent the new one to me, and I was like scared, like crap in my pants for like the next 2 weeks. I was like, oh God, please don't look and see that I messed up the bootloader. I never heard anything back.
So
I got very lucky. I tricked
Yeah.
Amazon into sending me a free Kindle Fire after I murdered the
AKA you stole from Amazon.
Well,
How old were you?
I was
Were you under 18 or over 18?
I was like 14.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in the
You're
clear.
good.
Yeah.
You're
You're
just that's 14's like dumb kid range.
Yeah.
He's just a dumb kid.
Yeah. You can do all sorts of illegal stuff when you're a kid.
Yeah. I think you're fine. My question though would be is like, does Amazon like try to fix it? They're like, oh, it's broken, or is Amazon like so big of a company it's not even worth their time? They're like, just recycle it,
Put it in a shredder.
shred it.
I had a
Peace
friend. You know the those like live stream deck things. I don't know, like by Elgato.
Yeah.
That you can buy.
Yeah.
Stream
One of
decks.
my friends, Stream Decks. That's what it's called. One of my
Almost.
friends bought it, and then he did the return process, but he just never sent it. And Amazon immediately like gives you the money, and then they haven't like charged him back for it at all.
Okay.
That's no bueno.
Yeah.
So
So I guess Amazon
That's
really
not
doesn't
mine
give
all.
a crap.
well, here's the thing: we don't advocate that.
Not at
It's
all.
really bad. Don't do this.
It's illegal.
Stealing.
It's
Yeah.
theft.
It's immoral, maybe.
Yeah, well, some may deem it that way.
No,
You shouldn't do that. But two, Amazon does keep track of this stuff, but it's all automated from what I understand.
Yeah.
So as long as you don't flag their system, it's not a problem. The only reason I know this is because I buy products in large quantities to test out.
because he has a problem.
He does have a problem.
It's like, well, they offer it as a service with like their clothing where you can order clothes and it's free shipping to return it. And if you don't like it for any reason, you can send it back. And it's their way of trying to convince people to like, hey, it's okay to buy clothes online, even if they don't fit, because a lot of people are skeptical.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I get that.
they keep a running tally of how many returns you have. And people are like, well, it's free shipping. No, you pay monthly or annual subscriptions for your shipping costs. And if you start to exceed your 125, whatever it is a year in return costs, then they'll send you a notification and they'll let you know of like, hey, you returned way too many items. It's too much money now. And if you keep doing it, we're going to decline your account. Like your account will just get banned from Amazon.
Has this happened to you?
It has never happened to me because I'm not that crazy. I've only like bought things and returned them at like in a testing period, like maybe 1 or 2 times for very specific items.
Okay.
But from what I understand, you have to do like a couple $100s worth of, you buy a thing and then return it, buy a thing and return it. I've had a bad luck lately where I buy products and they just don't work.
Right.
So I hope they don't flag me because I've only I've only done it once, and it was for backpacks.
They have a very
I'm sure you're
forgiving
fine.
return policy too. It's like 15 days.
30 for
30
most
days?
items.
Really?
Most items are 30.
Okay.
And if it's over and you have a valid reason, like I don't know, you work 7 days a week, or you had a funeral or whatever, car broke down, you're sick, like they're really flexible, and they're like, oh well, yeah, here's 5 more days or whatever.
I would think so.
Yeah. Another cool thing is if you order a package and it comes late, you can contact customer support and they'll give you a gift card for like $5-10 for inconvenience.
Wow.
And if it continues to be late and you contact them every day, you'll get like $5 to $10 a day.
You know, I've never done that. Mainly because
I haven't either.
The Amazon hacker, Tristan.
He's hacking the system.
Don't take advantage of their kindness, though.
Well,
Sounds like that's what you're advocating.
it
I'm
sounds like
stating what one could do.
you're learning so much today about how you can abuse Amazon.
Right?
I'm just saying what you could do. I haven't done this.
Yeah. But I was going to say, like, sometimes Amazon, like, expedites your thing. Like, if you order it 2-day shipping, it's like, hey, congratulations. You get an email that says, looks like your item's arriving 1 day earlier than expected. And I was like, oh, thank you, Amazon.
Yeah, thank
and
you.
so, like, I forgive them for, like, oh, if it gets delayed, like, once. That's all right.
Okay. So we're talking about big
Okay.
companies. We're talking about how they run things.
Well,
I kind of want to tie this a little bit back into what we were talking about. So I asked the question of, Cole, who should regulate it? And you don't want to touch that with the 10-foot pole because that is super controversial.
It has nothing to do with it being controversial.
Then
As
what-
I understand it is. I just don't have the answer.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. I've thought about it a touch or two, but I just don't. That's hard.
It's okay, buddy.
yeah.
Because I got the answer.
Not the federal
I
government.
was going to say, there's never usually a clear answer. When
No.
it comes
No,
to issues
there's
like
a
this.
clear answer.
Okay.
Let
What
me
is
tell you
it?
this. If
Let's
you
go.
bought a
What is
phone
it?
that was made by Mark Zuckerberg himself, would you want him to control the software? And he gets to dictate everything about that device. That's your answer.
I'm waiting on the Facebook phone. What are you talking about?
I
dude?
love the memes that's like you're on your phone, like your Facebook phone, and like you have some like pictures. I think it was like nudes or something for an
Yeah.
example, and then like you get a message from Mark and it says nice.
Yeah. My point is, there's just some companies that the general public's just like, I don't.
Yeah.
So if Mark Zuckerberg shouldn't regulate the products at Facebook, then who should? You think the federal government should?
No, I'm not saying.
Oh, okay.
I was just making more of a point of who
You told
shouldn't.
us. You told us you were going to tell us who should. I thought,
All right.
right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
I thought, yeah, you said
I
there was
thought
an
he did.
answer.
I'm gonna
What's
give you the answer.
Well, what are I
Just
guess
Tristan.
Give me some options, and we'll do
Oh.
some deductive reasoning here. But I definitely don't think it should be the company because
The people.
But
Well-
I don't know what the other option is.
That's what I'm saying. I get it. That's why I told you. I said I don't think it's as clear cut as one would think.
Yeah.
Well, I think you just give me
I
a
don't
list
know.
of options, and I'll tell you what's wrong with everyone.
I think it's just a rabbit hole. It's so many
is.
like specific scenarios,
Mhm.
and like it's hard to give a blanket statement for anything like this.
Yeah,
You know.
I'm sure the shareholders will love that answer.
Well, see, that's the problem. Like, why?
Was
Like,
it like
there's
a-
so many companies that are public and are just trying to appease shareholders who really don't really care about what the products are. They just
Care
want
about dollars.
dollars.
Dollars and
And-
cents, baby.
That's true.
I don't think that's what priorities of a business should be controlled by, is the dollar.
Yeah.
It should be factored in. Like, you shouldn't be running at a loss all the time.
Correct.
But like,
But I get it. Everybody should be
Yeah.
consumer focused. But the
Right.
thing is there's a lot of consumers out there.
Yeah, some of them are freaking stupid.
Well, that's a good point.
It's like that. It's like that product you see that's got like 5 stars, and it's like. But then there's that 1-star review, and they're like,
It's like
When
I
I-
sat on it and it broke.
when I put my finger on the package, I didn't like the way it felt under my finger, and you're like,
Or they like read the description wrong and then write a review about how they read it wrong, but still give it like a 1-star, even though the product does exactly what the description said it
Yes.
would.
Did
Like,
it come with batteries? 1 star.
But
But
in
at
the
the bottom, it was
description-
great though.
yeah. Golly, man.
Yeah.
Some-
that's what I'm saying.
the general public, the general
Public.
populace put too many words in the sentence.
This is why we provide services and we don't provide products.
Well, we talked about it last time. Like,
I'm out on the products.
find people that are knowledgeable, that are like there to actually support you as an individual. And I mentioned that in like terms of a company and a brand, but it goes both ways. As an individual, find companies and brands that support what you want.
Yes.
Like if you're vegan, go get some vegan food from a vegan company that does everything holistically. And if you like
those companies exist.
They do.
They really do.
It's a little more expensive, but you're voting with your money in that case. Like you're telling this company, hey, you're valuable and I appreciate you. I'm not a vegan, by the way, but it could be a clean company.
Shout out to all the vegan viewers.
Shout out to all the
What's up? What?
Get you some animal product. What are you doing?
Oh my god!
You started to jump on it, and then you're like, nope, never mind. And
don't worry,
we're supporting you guys. Now we're just dumping you. So.
Whatever you like in this world.
I like this episode so far.
Yeah.
I was told by multiple people that our podcast is
offensive.
No, as we have a very specific lane.
Stay in.
We don't.
Our lane is the best podcast in Columbus.
Yeah. Yes.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to be the best.
Because if you're listening to a podcast in Columbus, we are number one.
We are the
it's factually
only one that matters.
However,
based upon factual data.
If you have another podcast in Columbus, you want us to come on, we could do that.
Yeah, we'll take your viewers.
We'll come on set.
Well, we are supposed to have guests on soon.
Yeah,
when's that gonna
Season
happen?
3. We talked about it. You said
producer,
Q3.
man.
You said
Q3?
Q3. It's not Q3 yet.
Oh man, you're sounding
July
like
1st?
stakeholders.
Is it?
So it's
I don't know.
7th month, isn't it? We're in 6 right now.
I don't know, man.
Shoot, we got some planning to get done.
1 through 6, 7 through 12. Yeah.
Sweet. So yeah, it's coming up.
Dude, we got to get the...
Holy moly, I'm so far behind then.
Oh,
Yeah. Speaking of the company, do we want to talk about how I almost deleted the whole thing?
Yeah. I've been taking show notes here.
Is that what this is?
Is this what it is?
Is this like...
Alrighty.
Is this the story that you've been holding off on?
Story
Is this a story? Does
All
Cole
right.
know this story?
He does not.
No, I told
not
him
in
that.
detail.
I told him, I was
my
like, hey,
goodness.
I don't know this story. So, and he's like, good, keep it that way. So,
All right.
Yeah.
fresh ears, brothers.
When I
Here we
was
go.
in grade school, we had the school library, as most elementary schools do. And my favorite thing to do was go in and on story time, and the teacher would sit down and get this
Show and
little
tell?
book out, and she would read to the class. It was like show and tell.
Although I was homeschooled, I did participate in this a couple times in
Did you?
public library.
So
they
there
do
was
that there,
these
too.
buildings that had,
Yeah, that's true. For those of you who don't
Multiple
know,
families sent their children like
Yeah.
50 or more.
yeah, but there were these buildings called libraries, and they have books in them.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Sometimes they put a library inside the school.
Yes, that I was not aware of, but no, I watched enough TV.
I thought they were
What
separate.
is this piece of paper you're holding,
All right,
Tristan?
this is the tale of Joshua McNulty. The
Percussionist.
Have you ever heard of the tragedy of Joshua McNulty the Wise?
Oh my gosh.
Oh no.
So Joshua McNulty was a client of ours, and full disclosure, he's pretty good at playing instruments. It's actually from a percussion ensemble, and we were asked by a friend of a friend to go and record this, and the recording went really well. It went so
This is a
well.
beautiful recording.
Like all of our recordings.
Well, you know,
Just
every challenge,
Sir.
every good story has a challenge.
Quality.
and we
Yeah.
have a lot of good stories here.
Yep. Sorry.
Quality.
That's what it's
No.
all about. Good stories.
So yeah, we have a Mr. Joshua McNulty, super nice guy. His mama was technically the client 'cause she paid the bills on this one, and we are asked to come and shoot the recording of him playing his instruments, like a capstone project, like his college final, but for like music. And he had to play some bongo drums and some percussion instruments and some xylophones, all types of little things with sticks. And we got back and we edited it and we sent it off to him, and they're like, static. But here at TRIFLIX, no news is good news when it comes to clients. We work with so many people. We send something off and we don't hear from them for like 2 or 3 days, and we'll reach out and they're like, "Oh yeah, it was perfect, thanks."
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon for
One
us to-
hopes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good, and then 3 days later we get a revision request. But that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
So
So that's essentially what happened.
Yeah.
About 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
3
this was
weeks. So you sent the product.
Yeah.
We sent it.
Fine.
3 weeks
Crickets.
later, we hear back.
3 weeks later, you
Yeah.
hear back.
After we moved it to the server.
Yeah, this was around the time when we got the server and we started building our processes for archiving because videos take up a lot of space.
Yep.
And so we were like, all right, when we're done with the project, like a month after or whatever, we can move
3
it off
weeks.
to the server.
Close enough.
3 weeks to a month, what's the difference? it didn't seem like much at the time, but you move it to the server because you're done, and then if like you need to access it later, we can pull it off. Great, because it'll be there forever.
Yeah, and Mr. IT support himself, David Baker, was on site setting up the server. He knows it all.
We
When it
were
comes
all
to servers.
excited. We were getting ready to go. We were like, oh man, we can finally collaborate and like access files from multiple computers. And this was at our office back when we had that. And oh my
Thanks,
goodness.
COVID.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
And since this was the beginning of myself setting up the server, it was around the time when we were trying to figure out how to get multiple, like I said, getting like multiple computers set up, and you have to have permissions. And something went wrong, and we had a master folder where we put everything in that wasn't sorted through because we were in the middle of putting everything onto the server.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, we need to figure out a good way to organize it. And so we put that into a folder called like unsorted projects.
Yeah.
And then we had another folder just called projects.
I was actually media and unsorted media.
Unsorted
I will
media.
never forget.
So when the time came, we just finished having, I think, Ben go through and sort out all of the unsorted media into the media folder. And for some reason, we couldn't get rid of the unsorted folder. And so it was like, all right, I have to go onto the server and like manually delete it.
He had to
And
force eject the folder.
I had to just out of there, gone, gonna eat it from existence.
Imagine having a filing cabinet, all right? And there's this, you got all your folders in here, and you got this one folder, and it just won't come out. David walks in, and he grabs that thing, and he manhandles it, and he just rips it out. The problem was the folder that he grabbed did not say unsorted media. He typed in an RM command. He just typed in a command, and it said, it looked for the keyword media. So instead of having an
It's
underscore,
a very specific statement.
There's some technicalities that need to be explained here.
there was an underscore missing in his state.
Yes. So when when I made these folders, I made it unsorted space, like the character space, then media. Now, when you have to manually remove something from the server like I did, the delete command can take multiple folders or files to delete. And what's the way you separate them in that command is a space. So I wanted to delete the unsorted media folder. And so I was like, okay, delete unsorted media. And I hit enter. And I was like, wow, this is taking a really long time. And it took a really long time to delete an empty folder. And then it updated. It was like, boop, the media folder is gone. But the unsorted media folder was still there. And the problem, this is like a classic mistake. The problem was
Classic.
Wow. How is this classic?
This is a notorious
'Cause it's
mistake that
happened 4 more
happens
times.
with. I tried to.
This did not happen 4 more times.
Sorry,
It didn't happen for more. Like
go
in the
ahead.
IT world, like we're saying, there's always like everybody has their huge, I just effed up.
Yeah.
And this is one of the areas that people mess up a lot because it's easy to mess up.
Yeah.
Because I got all like, I can do this, and I wasn't thinking about it.
One character using a space instead of an underscore
I should have
made
put
the
it
difference.
around quotes. And so the command looked for the unsorted folder, like just a folder named unsorted.
Mm-hmm.
Tried to delete that. That didn't exist. It was like, okay. And then it moved on and it looked for a media folder. And then it was like, goodbye. Like poured gasoline all over the filing cabinet, then burned it.
Yeah.
And the reason why this was also an issue is on a Linux operating system.
Yeah.
And when you delete something, it is gone.
Yeah.
There is no recycle bin. There's no backup. Well, you can add one. It's optional.
But you did.
But I didn't add it. So I completely messed up because I didn't put it around quotes. If I put a quote, unsorted media, end quote, it would have been totally fine.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. And so this caused us to lose 4 terabytes
Here we go, kids.
Nuh-uh.
of information.
Here's a visual for you for the people watching. We got a folder here. It's called Unsorted Media, and it's right here. And then next to it, we got another folder called Media.
Mm-hmm.
David thought he grabbed the unsorted and deleted it, but what he did was he grabbed the folder that contained everything we had ever done in the last like 5 years, and he just threw it in the trash.
Not even that. No, set it on fire.
It was everything.
It was
you would have been
It's
able
like
to pull
I
it back out of the
poured
trash.
gasoline into the entire
Yeah.
filing cabinet and I burned it.
And then he peed on it. Just
for fun.
Yeah. And so
the world's biggest oopsie.
this probably caused both of our biggest panic attacks in our lives, I think. I don't think I've had as much stress up until that point.
My favorite thing is you sat there and waited for 4 terabytes to get deleted.
It happened really quick. It
was
only
like-
took like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
It's scary how fast things can be deleted as opposed to created
Right.
and or moved.
5 years to create all that stuff. Now, I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't
30
every
seconds.
You know what
hour
I
in a
mean?
day,
Like
but-
if you were going to
Tristan.
move 4 terabytes from one space to another
Yeah.
between 2 systems or computers or drives or whatever it might be, right?
Right.
It takes a
Ages.
while. It'd take
Yeah.
a very long time depending
Yeah.
even upon what you're using.
Yeah.
But then like you're like delete it though and it flies off the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish my memories worked like that.
How
Don't we
computers
all?
how computers keep track of their files is basically like a giant book, and then at the beginning of the book, like we're all familiar with, there is a table of contents, and the table of contents is what actually defines where all the files are, where it begins and ends in the system. Like this is when chapter 2 starts on like page 86 and then ends on page like 102. And so if you just rip out the table of contents or delete the files, you can get rid of that, like, I don't know, it's like only 2 or 3 pages maybe for a table of contents. So you can delete that, and it really doesn't care if the data is still there because you can just write over it. So if you don't write anything to your hard drive, technically all those files are still there. It just doesn't know it's there. It's like erasing a map.
Yeah.
Like everything is still there. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
And so this is the file recovery phase. We tried maybe 3 or 4 different methods over a course of 3 days,
Yeah.
and we were losing hair like crazy.
I think I handled it pretty well. You were.
I wanted to die because I thought I murdered your company. I was
Yeah.
like, hey, buddy, I'm an IT man. I can do all your IT stuff. It'll make things better. And then I ruined it.
There's
Yeah.
a reason we weren't working together yet.
Yeah.
I would have been very unhappy.
He didn't mean to.
just for
I hadn't graduated yet, so I wasn't officially an IT person.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
You haven't graduated.
Just for context too, this was like what? This would have been 5 years ago.
No.
it
3.
was
3,
3. I mean,
3.
you said 3, but
something like
it
that.
more
was
than 2.
2019, so it was 2-ish, 2.5.
Okay,
Thanks. It's very recent.
I was trying to.
it's like a couple months.
No, there's no recovery. This happened.
No. What I'm
like
getting,
our server, there was
no, and that's the thing is like,
We
no,
recovered
we
data.
did not. We brought we sent the drives off in a very Amazon hack-ish fashion,
gosh.
and what they sent us back was so unusable because of how unorganized the content was. Basically,
Right.
we had folders and structure for 4 terabytes, 4 years of content of folders and projects and photos and videos and all this. And they sent us back 1 folder with everything in there. And that wouldn't be
Yeah.
bad because then we could just like search for the name. The problem was it pulled up the like index name that the computer recognizes, not wedding 2020 like you would put. It pulled up
Right.
like 1053WTWX14, and it would
Yeah.
have that for all
Like half of them.
30,000 files,
Yeah.
because whenever you do video editing software, it's a folder with subfolders and
Yeah.
lines of code.
So, like we
30,000
it didn't get completely restored, but we had something
with the
to go
backup.
off of. We had
They at the
We did
initial
ha-
save state.
we did have a backup. It was a 2-week-old backup that didn't have the final McNulty
Yeah.
thing on it.
Poor Josh. This
Yeah.
happened
I'm
like
sorry,
within a
Josh, if you're
2-week
watching
window.
this. It is my fault.
Which, so I'm guessing they wanted revisions and you couldn't do revisions?
Yes.
3 weeks later, they reach out and they say, hey, we want revisions. Now, this whole time for this 3 week window of like, we shot it, we edit it, we send them off to them. The server gets deleted. David's having a panic attack. I'm like, whatever, like it sucks, but we lost a lot of content. Most of the stuff we created for funds on YouTube, most of the stuff's already on the website. And then anything else we did for clients, we haven't had any new clients that would be a problem that like we lost it because it was on the server. Again, this is for archiving. This isn't for projects we're currently working on.
Right.
So everything should be fine. The problem was a client from 3 weeks earlier that we had archived reached out and said, hey, we want changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that turned into a 9-month nightmare.
It was a massive nightmare.
9 months of going back and forth, which, I mean, it's not the client's fault. They paid for a service. They should get what they paid for.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure.
However, this is what insurance is now for.
Right?
Yep.
And now we've completely overhauled our whole...
Thank you. And still
server.
some confidence in these people.
We've learned.
I've been trying to redeem myself.
Maybe we should have led with that.
Well, okay, so thank you. This is what I was trying to get at when I asked you how long ago it was, and you kept chopping time off because I was going to be like, oh, that was a long time ago, and we're so much better. And you're like, no, that's like 2 years. What are you talking about, dude?
Well, we didn't get your server until you partnered, and you've only been a partner on the company for
true.
like less than a year because it was right around the time I got married too.
It's true. But still, now we have a new server, and we also back up everything that's on the server on a cloud server that's nowhere near us.
All of which I did configure, so I'm doing so much better now.
Good boy.
I didn't know this. I didn't know any of this, just so everyone's aware.
Well, we kept it from you for a good reason.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that I know this now.
No, it just never came. It just never came up. I just didn't really think about it. Oh, whoops.
Oopsie.
Yeah, we're following the classic 3-2-1 system, where you have 3 copies. You need to store it in 2 different locations, and I forget what the one is, but we're doing it. We're doing all
3,
of it.
2, 1.
3 copies of your data.
Mm-hmm.
Store it in 2 different locations, and have it one off-site. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And so we have one in the cloud, and we have everything in RAID.
Mm-hmm.
So RAID means we have a series of drives, and if one of them fails, we won't lose our data. We're using a special version of RAID that's like optimal.
3 times redundant, I think, isn't it?
I think we can lose 2 drives, and we can still have all of our data.
Yeah. Out of 4?
I think 4.
I think we have 4 drives in there, and then an OS drive that's separate.
Well, here at TRIFLIX, the 3-2-1 is actually of 3 strikes, 2, not be number 1 idiot.
Yeah.
So I think
it's 2 strikes left.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we should have 3 strikes per year. How does that
3
sound?
strikes per year.
Oh,
So
gosh.
I'm fresh.
Poor Bing Bong.
Love it. Gosh.
So I think that's the biggest mistake in my IT career.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I can
Stuff
share it
happens.
with you, Tristan.
Stuff happens for sure.
I'm glad to be a part of your learning educational experience. And the weird thing was he got like a raise like a month or 2 after that.
Yeah.
Hey,
It
what we're
wasn't a
traveling.
month. It was like a whole year. It took a while.
It was after Cole joined.
Yeah, it was after Cole. But
Yes, that's true.
if you go online to Reddit, there's a whole subreddit dedicated to like IT horror stories. There was like, I just messed up real bad today. And it was
Well, the funny thing
horrible.
was you went and asked a guy once you started a new job or when you were at your old job, and you're like explaining the situation and what you could do. And he's like, what did you do? And you're like, an RM command. And he's like, he
oh,
just starts
no.
chuckling.
Yeah.
Maniacally laughing and twiddling his thumbs.
And that's why I meant it's a classic mistake. Like everybody in IT world knows somebody who's had a horror story with it.
Oh, I'm sure.
gone.
Yeah.
When it can be a literal 1 character.
Difference.
Yeah, that's I get that.
Yeah, you killed Cash Money.
Our server's called Cash Money.
It's a play
And this
on
is
words.
Cash Money too, but we still just call them Cash Money because it's easier.
Yeah.
Um,
The nerds out there, you know what we talk about.
Yeah.
It's not that cash. It's that cash.
it's the cash.
Yeah, we got a lot.
You know, forever I always thought it was cachet.
Cachet? Well, it probably is if it's French. I don't know.
I don't know
I
why.
think you need an accent on it.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Would
Got that CPU cachet.
conversation for later, but would it be possible to use like an SSD on the drive on the server as like a quick access drive?
Like a fast swap?
Yeah, like, well, sometimes they'll use like SSDs as like
Like an intern
large
drive?
RAM. Well, it's like quick access memory for
Yeah.
like large projects. It's a very big
Short
question.
answer yes, long answer no.
Okay,
Great.
We can do it.
Short
just
answer.
not with what we have right
short
now.
answer for
Yeah.
is it of value to us?
In the future, yes.
Okay, cool. All right, you guys.
LTT has done something.
You guys need
Small channel line of
IT
sight
consulting. Hit up David.
Yeah.
I'll
he'll-
delete your server,
He'll delete it all,
and then I'll show you how to not have me delete the server.
and then he'll show you the
Yeah.
correct way to set it up after.
We also improved it. We've set up our own local VPN.
What does
That
that
we can-
mean?
It's a virtual private network.
What does that mean?
NordVPN.
Oh my
You can watch Netflix from anywhere in the world.
You can watch
Unofficial
TRIFLIX
sponsor.
from any
You want
zone.
Japanese Netflix? Get you a
Yeah.
NordVPN.
It's a direct line to our server. You have to have like a username and password and a special file that authorizes you to connect to it.
Yeah.
So you can be anywhere in the world, and we can connect to cash money,
It's fantastic.
and we can access any of our files if we need to. It's relatively slow, but
Well, is it slow for you? Because you have decent internet now.
it's still around. I don't know, but it's slower than being on the same network.
Right.
Ask anybody.
yes,
The fastest speeds you can ever have is being on the same network.
of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
So-
Well,
Yeah.
'Kay.
I have no idea where we are on
We've
time.
gotten so technical today.
Maybe
Yeah,
50
whatever.
minutes.
50 minutes. All right, let's keep going. We
Pick
got-
one more.
Yeah.
Pick something off the list. We haven't done anything off the list in
We'll
a
talk
hot
about
minute.
somebody else's terrible horror story next week.
Yeah. Well, there's always something.
Yep.
Mm,
Maybe.
I don't know if I'm trying to think if
I haven't
I've
been adding much this
I haven't had a
week.
big
I've been busy.
whoopsie in a while, and I can't think of like
Drone. You hit a tree.
Drone.
It wasn't a big oopsie.
that wasn't a big oopsie.
Please be worse than mine. Please
So
be
I-
worse than mine.
Are you talking about your?
I crashed your drone.
That
and
was
we had
your
to buy
whoopsie.
new blades in the middle of a shoot after we got most of the shots we needed, and then you crashed the drone. Well, crashing is relative.
Crash it.
That's a relative term. It didn't hit the ground.
It was a whoopsie.
because
it
it
was a
hit a
whoopsie.
tree.
Yeah.
Oh.
It hit the leaves in the tree. I have a picture of it. I'll send it to you, David. You can put it
Yeah,
in
we
the
can
thing.
put it up on the screen.
Yeah, but I went inside the tree. It's like tree inception. I went inside a tree and it went and just like got covered in leaves because it just chopped all the
Green.
leaves up. I had to clean the whole drone. It was nasty.
Also, I want to say thank you to Tristan for just being a great friend and not hating me and firing me and letting me redeem myself after
Yeah.
my incident.
I just like teasing you about it.
Oh,
It don't
yeah,
bother
you know,
me.
I lose sleep at night about it. It's
That's-
all right.
he like wakes up in cold sweats. The server, not again.
Did I tell you guys about the nightmares I've been having?
Are they
No.
like reoccurring?
Yeah.
Ooh,
So I
Tell us
had.
about 'em.
that's neat.
You guys are gonna laugh at this. It's so stupid. I'm having a reoccurring nightmare, and so every time it's a different person, family member / friend, that's doing it. But I'm stuck and I can't move,
Okay.
and the other person has my phone and they're taking the inside screen and they're just rubbing their nails on it and indenting it and scratching it and breaking it.
Dude.
And it's happened to me multiple times.
This is your note, the foldy
This is a
note.
$2,000 phone, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa. Yes. So
Don't
it's-
go look
I have-
that up online to fact check it.
if you're watching the online portion of this, there's an 8-inch interior screen that folds out. There's a crease down the center, and you can actually fold it. It's ultra thin glass with other layers of material that allows the screen to fold. It's an OLED, an organic light emitting diode screen. So,
nice.
the thing is because of the thin nature of the screen and it having to be foldable, right? There's a stretch and kind of it's a much softer, overlay on the screen. So the
Right.
problem with that is that, even if you were to take your fingernail and drag it along the screen with force,
Right.
you would leave an indent in the screen.
Oh,
Right?
no.
And you have nightmares about this.
I have nightmares about this.
Has
I don't know why.
Yeah, that's weird.
I'm telling you, just it like started and I don't understand it. And then when it was reoccurring, I was like, what is wrong with me?
what happens when it does get broken? Can you like send it in this? Does it have like a special warranty?
Yes. So the way that they have it planned out, and you're going to laugh, but I mean, compared to what a whole new phone costs, it's not bad. But within the first 12 months of having the phone, you're allotted one screen replacement, but it's $150.
Are you gonna get replaced on like
$150
the
and the
last
phone's
day?
like $2,000?
Yes.
What did you say?
I said, are you gonna get replaced on the last day of the warranty?
Oh yeah.
Just get a new screen.
You might as well, right?
Well,
get a brand new phone.
Well, no, not just that, but like I turn over my phones every time. So the thing is, it's like I pay it off, I sell it, and then I pay it off, buy a new phone, and then sell the old phone to recoup cost. So what I will do is pay it off and send it in and get the screen repaired while I have my new phone anyways.
Yeah.
And then I'll sell it and it'll be a brand new inner screen and someone can enjoy it without the micro scratches. Because if you look at it, they are
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, Tristan, you love finding all the weird, shady workarounds for these things.
Yeah.
Returning it the last day.
Yeah. No, that's.
I mean, I'm still
definitely something I
paying
do.
for it.
Yeah,
I'm still
that's
going to
what
pay
I'm saying, like,
$150.
yeah. I don't consider it much of a warranty if you have to pay a
But I
deductible.
mean, but think about like what it would cost to replace the phone itself completely.
Right.
Yeah. Well, this is my $300 phone, and
Hey, Cole. Take turns.
I just
Let's
dropped
go.
mine on the floor, and it doesn't bother me at all. I would never have a nightmare about this.
But the thing is like I have always inherently been an early adopter. It's just who I am.
You like being a beta tester.
I have always enjoyed it. Like
Yeah.
now I've had to pull back a little bit because my devices are used for work now.
The nightmares were consuming me.
Yeah.
All my devices were getting nails.
But like I had like I didn't have the first 3G. So I had the first 4G phone on Verizon, and like I had the first Android phone on Verizon. I mean, there were plenty of firsts that I just was like, I gotta do it. Now I waited till the second rev of the folding phone
Smart.
because I was like, when I was watching reviews, because remember, like the first one came out and it was so beta that the screens were breaking.
Yeah, super fragile. And they
Super
were
fragile.
Getting fatigue, stress, strains.
Yeah.
Like right off the
Dust
bat.
was getting
Down
in
the
the
middle.
hinges.
Yeah,
and, like,
because the
just from
biggest thing is
folding.
with the folding mechanism, it became super loose, and people were like, if you held it here, the screen would flop open.
Yeah, you're not an early adopter. You're like above average adopter.
Yeah.
Well, I used to be one, is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, but
I
you-
would have bought it before.
Really?
Oh, for sure. I would have been like, boom.
I thought you.
And now I'm like, I need my stuff to work.
All right.
I had
So
the first full touchscreen phone on Verizon too.
this kind of goes back to whether or not consumers are smart enough to like know what they want.
Yeah.
The
It makes
fact
me
that-
think of Star Citizen.
Well, I was just thinking of like the companies earlier and like the whether or not companies should like listen to consumers, because the first Samsung was such like a bad idea that nobody asked for, except there were people that like you that would have bought it.
I mean, the
too.
Fold. The first
Fold.
Fold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, not the first Samsung.
Yeah.
The
I was
first,
like,
the world's first
mistake
Samsung.
making a phone.
I was like, man, I was like, that was a feature phone, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, Samsung's they
Right.
make good devices. I like Samsung, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just it seems more like a gimmick to me than it is a form over function.
I think it's a step towards something better.
Yes, because I think the thing that's going to be like what's super cool is they're talking about the rollables. So when you're like holding it, then the screen just comes out like
Right.
and unrolls itself, and then you have a bigger phone.
But what is the benefit of this? Why would somebody want that?
So I think with certain people, this is not a general use case, right? But for me, someone who obviously with whether it's social media or email or whatever, you know, and Tristan gets this, we both run a company, and I think it's nice to be able to have those things there. I prefer a larger screen.
Yeah.
I just do. It's hard to see stuff on a smaller screen. I like it. I like
Right.
where phones are going. I dig it.
Yeah.
So what I like is that if I need to do something quick, I can do it on the front screen. And then if I really want to be able to see a video, or if I want to see more content or pull up two apps at the same time,
Yeah.
I can open my phone and I go from a 6 and change inch screen to an 8 and change inch screens. And you're like, okay, awesome. Like now I've got that functionality in one device instead of having to have multiples.
Yeah. No, I get. I'm
Right.
aware. I'm the minority. 70% of the internet now, at least in the U.S., is on mobile over desktop.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm probably that high just because I'm like looking at my phone while I'm using my computer. It's just an extra screen to me. But I know for a fact 70% of my use of the internet, or just any technological device, whatever, any tech device is going to be on a desktop.
Yeah.
But I know that's not the majority.
But see,
market's ran by 13-year-old girls, and whatever they want is what sells.
That's true, though.
But
I understand
marketing.
that. I understand you completely because I straddled the line. The problem is like I work more from the road than I do the house.
Right.
Yeah.
And if it were the other way around, I am way more apt to sit down at the computer and watch a video. And there's some videos I won't even watch on my phone, and I'll wait till later to watch on the computer.
Or on the TV.
Or on the TV, which I've started to do more often now.
Yeah.
It's just nice. I mean, you can see it. It's better. I completely understand. And I'm not, I hate phone gaming. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I think it's bad.
It's silly. And I know it's a big deal and there's a ton of money in it, but it's like, I don't want to stare at a freaking 8-inch screen.
18 inches. Yeah. Ew, gross. I only use 32-inch TVs. Screens, whatever.
I was gonna say my monitor's 32, but
yeah. I haven't seen a 32-inch TV in a long time.
Right. But that's the thing. I don't believe me. I don't get it as much as the next person. But when it comes to, again, now my function of the device is different. It's not for it to be cool or to learn something new or to try something different. It's to sometimes try something different, but then it also serves a function for work because that's what my devices are for. Whether it's that MacBook or if it's my computer at home, it has to serve one function first above everything else, and that's aid me in my job day to day.
Right.
Yeah.
And this does.
What
There's cons.
Excited about when it comes to when I first saw folding phones is the idea that the screen itself is malleable.
Yes.
So my brain started ticking. It's like, what is something that shows up on a screen a lot? Buttons. And like, it is just a flat pane of glass and you can't feel it. Like, what if you could feel the button on the screen? That is the future that I'm seeing with these more flexible screens. Because like, if you think on a keyboard, we put two little nubs on like the F and the J. I don't know. It's on
Excuse
there.
it.
You don't think about it. You just put your fingers on the keyboard and you know where your fingers are and you don't even have to look at it to use it. Mm-hmm. What if it was like that on the screen? You could feel two little nubs where like the F thing was and it goes down when you're not using it. Like it's a screen that lifts up and that is a
Sorry, that motorcycle is so loud.
Oh my goodness.
Somebody help him.
Okay.
What if it was a tactile screen where like if a button showed up on your screen, you could feel it and you could push it down?
That'd be tight.
That would be so cool.
I'm going to test your nerdism.
Yeah.
Do either one of you remember the Blackberry Storm?
I know the
That's
name.
such a familiar name. I know
but
Blackberry.
To the Google.
Failed big time. Now, my dad had one. I don't know why. I probably talked him into it. So it was the first full touchscreen Blackberry.
Okay.
Although it had an answer and end button, which most phones did at that point.
Yeah.
But the screen itself was like one large Apple trackpad.
Ooh,
and when you pushed a button on it, this whole screen would press in and vibrate with a haptic. It was horrible.
Yeah.
But the concept, right, is about around the same as what David's talking about. It was
like
still
a 3D
trying to
screen feel.
Yeah, it was about getting that tactile feedback that when I hit a button, it presses in like anything else, but it's still just a flat screen.
Mm-hmm. Right. I want to see somebody do that with like today's technology. I think
that'd be tight.
Folding phones with like moving screens. I think it's going to be paving the way. Somebody's working on it in a secret lab, and we're going to see it in like 20 years. Because like that's the next thing. Like, who wants a stupid flat piece of whatever? Like, I can't even feel where my finger is right now.
Need to be of glass at all?
Yeah.
Why can't it just be holographic?
Like,
gosh.
Why can't it be Jarvis?
Can't be like this, just poking around in the air.
Okay, no. So I don't know if this is the last story, but it's probably the last one I have to offer. Right now, I'm doing a project with a big client on HoloLens. What is HoloLens? It is a VR for a lot of money, and it's a headset.
No,
and
it's not VR.
It's AR.
Thank you.
Depends on how you use it, but yeah.
No, it's all AR.
It's all AR.
Yeah, there's no VR to it.
There's no?
No.
Okay, well, clearly.
If you see through it and like
I
it looks
haven't worn
like
it.
it's there.
I haven't worn it. I haven't looked through it. I don't know what it is.
So, real fast.
Okay.
So, virtual reality is VR, and that's where you're immersed into another world completely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you wear a headset with normally two screens per eye, a screen per eye,
Right.
and then it immerses you completely. AR is augmented reality, where it mixes virtual objects into your actual reality.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and that is essentially what a HoloLens is made by Microsoft. That's what that system does, is when you look through it, you see your world, and then when it turns on, it places virtual objects into real life.
For the old school guys, if you remember Google Glass,
Yeah.
it's like a souped up version of that.
It's baller too. Like, I think I would love to wear a HoloLens. I've never gotten to, but it would be
They're
so tight.
like $5,000 each. That's why only commercial people are using it.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Regardless, if
Sorry,
if
there's
you've
the backstory.
Seen, if you've seen VR goggles, it looks identical. It's a big old mask you put over your eyes. The only difference is it has like these like prismatic sunglass lenses in the front, and it does allow you to see through them with the augmented reality on that prismatic surface. So that's like, you can see a table on the other side of the glass, but then you see like a 3D model of a dog on the table, and the dog's like moving around and barking and stuff. Pretty cool. However, it's in a manufacturing environment, and everyone there is very closed-minded to the applications of it. So you got people like with glasses on doing hand motions in the air, and everybody around them just roasting them, making fun of them. And like, it's pretty brutal. It's hilarious at the same time. But I think that was probably the same issue with the Google Lens or Google Glass, whatever it was, when that came out.
Well, it cost a butt ton of money, and it was only like half of a glass piece.
No, privacy was what killed that.
Was it?
People were pissed that you had a camera on your face. That was the whole reason it died. Because everybody was like, oh, people have a camera on their face and they can take pictures without anybody knowing.
Yeah, well, I mean, these do the same thing. It's just, it's not as concealed.
It's huge.
But the problem I always heard about the Google Glass, and the reason I thought they were stupid, is because they look stupid, and you look stupid wearing them. And I know, like,
Probably.
I'm old enough that I don't care what other people think about, whatever.
I wanted one.
I signed up for the beta
look silly.
program. It was like, congratulations, you're in. I was 15 at the time, and it's like, it's only $800. I'm like, oh, never mind.
Yeah. Super expensive. You never got them?
No, I didn't have $800.
Well, you made a joke. I didn't know. Maybe there could have been a chance. That'd been cool. I don't know.
I was disappointed.
I thought they looked silly. People I knew thought they looked silly, and the people that are using the same technology now think they look silly. But but once people wear them, they're like, this is super cool.
Yeah.
And the HoloLens is not meant for consumer, like, wearing about town type of thing. Like,
Oh, no.
for the consumer side, they kind of put it as more of like a at home, because essentially, like, what you could do is, if you were at home, you could put them on, and then you, like, technically you wouldn't need a TV, because you could just like throw a screen up onto the wall, and then you could resize it, and you could watch whatever you wanted to with these glasses on.
Yeah, if you like having sweaty head.
No, I get it. The application is not, it's not there.
Yeah.
The technology has to be greatly reduced in size and weight, and
Yeah. I've seen it used for, like, not interior decoration, but
Minecraft.
Minecraft. They did do Minecraft.
you want to bring Minecraft to the living room table?
Now you can.
HoloLens.
Was kind of cool.
I mean, it's super cool, but still.
Yeah. I think it was like organizing an office, or like mocking up like a manufacturing center. Like, this is how the assembly line could be. You would stand here and you could boop-a-doop-a-doo.
Yeah.
And you could like test it out. Because it's like what Tristan said. It looks kind of stupid, like, because you're like acting like you're doing things and you're just standing in front of a table that's empty.
See, the problem with it, though, is the problem I have with AR in general. AR is really cool because it's more interesting. You're taking the real world and augmented and just like amplifying it. It's like makeup. That doesn't completely change things. It could completely change things, but I think the best case for it is like, it's just amplifying it. The world's already cool. Now you got flying seagulls in your kitchen.
You said makeup, and instantly I was just like, there's just like, when you wear a HoloLens, like, on the street, it just like applies a Snapchat filter to everyone's face. It just with like clown
Why
makeup.
not?
Everybody has googly eyes.
Dude, it's like it's really cool about amplifying reality. Like it just takes things and it just minor tweaks is like all it takes to like make things so much more interesting.
Right.
It's going to take a whole new generation though.
The better part of VR would be the actual application you were talking about, like of like line work or homes and stuff. The problem is if you're like, I'm going to go into this house and we're going to renovate and we're going to imagine what it would look like if you took out this wall. AR won't remove the wall.
That's
VR
true. Yes.
can. So what that means is like the wall's not going to disappear. The wall's still there. You're looking through the lens. You could add another wall. You could add a dining room table. You could change the colors of walls.
That'd be
or carpet.
so dangerous. What if you forget you removed a wall and you just walk right into it?
Still got your glasses on.
Oh my gosh! Could you imagine like they do this in VR, but it's the opposite where people that are afraid of heights will go in these like height simulators and they're in a living room.
Yeah. And they fall
and they're
down.
walking, and then these people are having panic attacks in their living room holding onto a beam, but in like reality they're like standing on a 2x4 in their living room that's like a 2x4. Like that's it.
Yeah.
And there was this one example of like a guy that was wearing the goggles, and he was standing on like the edge of a rooftop, and he had to jump to another rooftop. Instead of using like the controls to like move his character, he physically jumped into a glass window or something.
No.
So yeah, it's like the Nintendo Wii when people were throwing the remotes of their TVs, except now it's like people actually getting
They're throwing themselves into the TV.
Yeah. Look up some VR fails. I'm sure those are fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I had, it was super minor, but I was like using the wands at one point at my friend's house, and I was trying to chuck something, and I was like, I'm going to chuck it really hard, and I smacked the controller into the wall.
Kevin,
like,
watch
what?
the lights. Kevin, watch the lights.
Great. Now we're all going to have padded rooms in our house in the future.
The
so you can have
controller
VR.
Everyone's gonna have one padded room in their house.
Yeah.
This is my VR
This giant
room.
pillow room. But everybody's a psychopath in the future, just like wrapped up. This is my VR room.
Well, so the thing is with VR, like we're joking and making light of it. There are safety precautions that the company sets up within their software where you can set up like a safety zone, and if you get close to it in the VR world, as you get closer to it, it'll start to become translucent, and then as you get closer and closer, it turns into like solid red. You can still go through it, however, like it'll change the way the program you're inside of, so like everything will have a tint. And the reason this is cool is because maybe you just want like a certain rug because you have a couch, so you don't want to get too close to the couch and trip and fall.
Yeah.
But you could set it in even closer, and like maybe there's a wall or your computer or like your dog crate or whatever's going on in your house. You can set up these precautionary systems so that you don't hurt yourself. Some people just forget.
They work great as long as you're not moving really fast.
Yes.
Because they don't have time to react.
I just imagine this guy's like jumping like from ledge to ledge, and like halfway mid jump his legs are off the ground and he just sees the red getting close. He's like, oh no, not the TV.
We're just getting one step closer to living in our VR tubes at home and having a second life.
Having a giant empty floor of your house dedicated to VR so you can walk around and not hit anything.
Yeah. No. All right. Oh, I do want to. I'm not backpedaling, but I do want to clarify about the AR versus VR. One's not better than the other.
No,
and
they're just different.
When I joked about like the makeup thing, cosplay is cool. Like if you just do full face makeup, completely change your look, that's totally sick, and I support that. No makeup's cool too. Whatever. I don't care.
Nice.
Do your own thing. Save face. Look at that. Marketing, branding, PR. I can go work at John Deere now.
Yeah, not so much. I work with you on a daily basis. I know better.
Yeah, no.
All three of us would never make it in corporate America.
Would you ever do cosplay?
Sure.
Who would you cosplay as?
Who's your cosplay?
I don't know.
Guy or girl? Animal? What are you?
I don't know. I've never thought into it, so I'm not that cool.
Would your wife?
I don't know. Probably
would you guys
not.
like go to a convention?
She probably wouldn't.
Nah.
I've
You
been
guys don't even
told-
watch like. You guys don't watch like animated shows or anything for the
No.
most part. Rick and Morty. That's about it.
Yeah,
Oh, you make a good Morty.
I could do that.
I think you'd make a great Morty, buddy.
If I was shorter, yeah.
Yeah, you just need a real tall Rick.
Perspective.
I've been told I look like Mark Zuckerberg. I could just cosplay as him and be like, hey, nice pictures on your phone.
You need to get a gray shirt. He always wears this gray with his blue jeans.
I need to perfect my robot-looking face.
Yeah, the fake smile.
Yeah.
Next week, Mark Zuckerberg's a robot.
Would you dress up as anyone?
Or
Zuckerberg? That is your cosplay?
Yeah, that's my cosplay.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what we're doing for the Halloween party now.
Yeah.
Facebook theme party for the Zuck himself.
Sounds such a boomer party.
We should
The Facebook
We
party.
should all cross dress.
Dude, why not?
You would like that.
I would have to go buy something for myself because my wife is like
Yeah.
70, 80 pounds less than I am. She's so petite. Ain't no way. Ain't no way, son. I tried putting on her jacket one time going out to the car in the winter time, and that didn't work out. I had like both my arms like stretched behind my back like I was getting arrested with handcuffs on me or something. I couldn't even get my arms to twist back forward.
Fat guy in a little coat.
Oh, that movie is so good, but I don't know if it would get released today.
Tristan, what are we going to talk about next week?
Oh, next week, let's check the docket, man.
What's on the docket?
Prep me a little bit
We
more.
talked about my wonderful, what's that?
You know what? Let's talk about the perfect keyboard.
The perfect keyboard?
The perfect keyboard.
What type of keyboard?
Dude, everybody's going to come with their own ideas.
All right. So
Let
we'll
us-
leave it ominous.
Let us know. Let us know what your favorite keyboard is. But why does that matter? Because there's so many different types of keyboards, and some of them you use, and it's like, "Ugh, this feels awful. And some of them you're like, this is the greatest thing I've ever touched.
Okay,
So
but we are
like,
talking about computer keyboards, right?
any keyboard.
Yeah.
Piano keyboard. Kalimba keyboard.
Oh my gosh.
All the keyboards. Roll us out, David. Play the song. Play it. Yeah, buddy. Have a great day, guys.
Yeah, what he said.
Even if you wear makeup.
Or you don't.
Best podcast in Columbus.